Hey there, podcasters and aspiring content creators. I am Oscar with the Pardon My Art, Unlocking the Business Side of Creativity podcast. And I'm thrilled to share my personal journey with you and give a massive shout out to Adam, who's been a game changer in my quest to help make my podcast more meaningful and monetizable. When I started my podcast, I was passionate about sharing quality insights with my creative audience. However, I often found myself wondering how to give more depth to my content and, of course, how to monetize it effectively. I've implemented Adam's strategies, and the results have been incredible. I've not only seen a significant increase in engagement and listenership, but I'm working on a new and exciting revenue stream from my podcast, which is like a dream come true. So if you're a podcaster looking to take your content to the next level and monetize it effectively, I can't recommend Adam and Podcasting Business School enough. Head over to podcastingbusiness.school and start your journey toward podcasting success today. Trust me, you won't regret it.
What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School. It's the show where I teach podcasters simple strategies to help you make more money, get more clients, and build a profitable online business. Pod Pals, I'm very excited because today we're talking about my 2026 podcast monetization game plan. And I've got some new ideas. I've got some pertinent questions to put in front of you as always. And podcast monetization is one of my favorite problems to help you solve, to help my clients kind of solve at that next level, because so many podcasters quit because they just see money going out with expenses for hosting and for editing and production and for social media help or for coaching or for equipment or whatever. It's all going out. It's all outflow and no inflow with cash coming in to your pocket. I've seen a lot of podcasters quit in the last year. It's been a little bit of a bummer for me in 2025. Some of my longtime podcasting friends have hung up their podcasting spurs, and it's because of monetization. And people want growth, but really ultimately, if we can at least be breaking even from a income versus expense standpoint, that's going to create some longevity, and with longevity come more opportunities for growth and monetization. I am a great example of that. So this is one of the podcast problems I love helping you all solve. And after today's episode, if you decide you would like a little bit of next level help, then definitely check out the link in the show notes with my podcast Profit Potential Discovery Call. You can hop on one of those suckers, talk for about 20 minutes, see how I can help you and help you accelerate your results beyond what you learn from me in my free content. And check that out in the show notes. Okay. So I've got my strategies, what I'm focusing on, then it's going to turn to focusing on you because that's even more important. So we're going to use my stuff as kind of an example, and then we're going to evaluate some questions that you really need to be considering right now. Okay. So the first thing, another year goes by, 2026 will involve 0 sponsorships. And if you're newer to podcasting, if you're newer to my show, a lot of people consider podcast monetization, that equals sponsorships. That's the only way you monetize a podcast, a show, is via sponsorship income. And to me, that isn't true. First off, anything you do to create content that leads to income, that is the definition of being a content entrepreneur. That is what I am. So content like this, you heard me mention my discovery call. Somebody will probably click on that. And we'll discuss doing coaching at one of my different coaching offers, and they might say yes. And then I just made money. I just monetized my podcast. And I do that week after week after week. So I am a content entrepreneur. So let's dispel that myth. You do not have to make money only via sponsorships to be monetizing your show. You can, in my opinion, earn meaningful income with a much smaller audience and much sooner by selling your own programs, products, and services like what I do. So why no sponsorships? Again, however many years in a row, 0 sponsorships. I've never had a sponsor for Podcasting Business School. I used to do sponsorships with my health show that I started back in 2015, and I eventually faded away from that as well. So why do I not have sponsorships? And I could, and I know some of you are like, Adam, it's just extra money. Why not? It's not worth the call to action trade out to me. Because for example, with today's episode, at the beginning or in the mid-roll or something, I could be like, and this episode is brought to you by some underwear company or mushroom coffee or a mattress company or whatever the hell else. And that is one pivot taking you away from where I want you to go. First off, I want you focused on the content. And secondly, if you take any action, I want to be to click the link in the show notes and hit that discovery call link. Like, that's the one thing I want you to do today. I'm not going to talk about a million other things. I give myself one simple call to action for each episode. And this has served me so well. I know some of you are still fighting on this because you think you've got one call to action, but you also run this canned intro and outro that has 12 different things. Like, if you have in your intro that canned music, hey, welcome to the show, follow me here, follow me there, get this, get that, get this lead magnet, get this other 12 things, check out my offer, check out my website. Those are all calls to action. And in my opinion, with my personal strategy, I eliminate all of that. All right. So today's single call to action is that discovery call link. That's all I'm going to mention. So that's why no sponsorships. The money trade out, people could pay me $500, but I don't want to distract you from going to that discovery call link where I can make a lot more than $500. All right. So that trade out is not worth it to me. Even though it is, perceived, it could be extra income, cherry on top income. So that's just my personal strategy. Okay. So that's the first thing. No sponsorships, focusing on selling programs, products, and services with my 2026 monetization strategy. Next thing, doing it today. This is a great example. I am still going to be leveraging content to funnel into discovery calls. For me, if I'm going to sell something that is over $500, I will not direct sell it from my content. All right. So if like my coaching programs, my one-to-one hybrid coaching, all those are over $500, I'm not going to sit on here and pitch them on the show. What I prefer to do is say, hey, if you're struggling with this problem, like podcast monetization, hop on the discovery call link. As you fill out that information, we'll assess the problem. And one of the questions I ask is like, what's your budget for solving this? And I need to be able to have an offer that fits the solution for your problem, but also within your budget. So I've got options for that. And that's why I like to take that extra step, because 10 years of creating content, I've just found this work to work a lot better. All right. So I apologize if I'm sounding a little bit distracted today, because I'm recording. Normally I record in StreamYard. I'm trying to record in Descript, and I'm not used to seeing like the sound wave bar in front of me, and like all I see is these bars going crazy in front of me, and it's really distracting me. So I'm going to minimize my window, because it's like freaking me out. But and if my sound sounds better or worse or whatever, I'm just trying this because honestly I want to cancel StreamYard because it's $45 a month, and I really don't. I feel like I can record solo episodes on Descript and my coaching episodes on Zoom just fine. So anyway, that's a little aside. I will try to do better for the rest of the episode. So leveraging content to funnel into discovery calls. I will continue to do that with this show. I would say at least 50% of my call to action here will be, hey, hop on the discovery call link. I'll still be promoting my newsletter and things like that. Yeah, I mean, this has worked year after year after year, and give this a try. Like, if you are one of those podcasters that has that consulting offer that's like $1,500, $5,000, $10K, whatever, instead of pitching that directly from your show, just let people know what problem you solve, and then say, hey, a next great step is the blah, blah, blah discovery call. That way we can talk about, does it make sense, and is it within your budget to work together? And a lot of people just need that extra little touch point, and now you got sales coming in. And that's like the one missing ingredient for a lot of my clients that come and work with me in any of my coaching programs. I'm like, hey, let's just try this. Let's do a 9-week experiment where we just kind of saturate your single call to action with discovery call, and let's just watch this work. All right. So that is one strategy that I will continue doing. I will then leverage the discovery calls to fill up my 3 different coaching bucket offers. So I've got group coaching, I've got a 60-day sprint one-on-one coaching, and then I've got a hybrid between the both. Those are my 3 offers that people can jump into and start working with me from a coaching perspective. So that's kind of the funnel for me, is content. All right, good expert position content that's relevant to you, helping you start to solve problems. The content leads to discovery calls. The discovery calls lead to filling up my 3 different coaching offers based on the budget you have to solve your problem. So I'm getting ready to hop on a discovery call a little bit later today. I know that they've got a $500 to $1,000 per month budget, and I can fit either my group coaching or my hybrid coaching, where they get a little bit of group, a little bit of one-on-one, into that budget. And they are really looking at listener to client conversion, which I've got solutions for that. So this is like, okay, great fit. Let's just talk about this, make sure the budget is accurate. And a lot of times I just ask people, hey, do you prefer group coaching? Do you prefer a one-on-one? Maybe a little bit of both. What do you prefer to do? And then I can kind of make it fit. So I'm keeping it simple. Simple. I'm not doing these giant launch, cart open, cart close campaign. I stopped doing that in 2025. I will continue to not do that in 2026. A lot of times it's because the launch thing stresses me out. I know it stresses a lot of you. I hear this all the time. Like, I feel like I'm launching all the time. And then it's like one strike and you're out. And you take one big swing. And then if you get subpar results, we're kind of pissed. We're kind of depressed. We feel like giving up. We put all that energy. And, a lot of times, there's so many variables that go into a launch as to whether it's successful or not. Like I've launched something in like end of May heading into summer. And I was like, oops, terrible time to be selling stuff. And I did it again in September and it was like way different results. And the only difference was just the time of year. It wasn't my content. It wasn't my pitch. It wasn't my offer. It wasn't my pricing. It was the time of freaking year. So little things like that can impact those launches. And I'm just like, kind of over it. Maybe I get back to it. Maybe I don't. Always leave myself the opportunity to backtrack, and you can always go back to things that didn't work in the past, kind of reevaluate, reconfigure them, and try it again. But for now, I'm not planning on using a specific launch strategy. Now, the new thing that I am going to be doing is my coaching offers. My month-to-month coaching is $250 a month. And then the hybrid coaching is $700 per month. And then the one-to-one is a 60-day sprint for $3,000. All right. So I wanted to have something that's what my good friend and pod pal Amanda Walker from Best Damn Coach Podcast would call a small bite offer. It's kind of an entryway into my world. So I've been looking for that, but I still don't want to do launches. I don't like cart open, cart close, time sensitive. Like, oh, this is a 4-week program. It starts on this date and ends on that date. I don't like doing that because we as human beings, as consumers, we're really good at being like, oh, but one of those weeks I'm traveling for 2 days, so this isn't optimal, so I'm not going to buy this thing. I do that. You do that. We all do it. All right. So I don't want to be in that loop of things. So I've been experimenting with these, what I'm calling course plus coaching offers as a small bite offer. I'm putting these out there initially at the $297 price point. Been testing them a little bit. People are buying them and it is going well. So far, so good. So I've got all these different course protocols. I've got my podcast launch protocol, my listener client conversion program, podcast growth boot camp, my high value newsletter, my rebranding program, the threads course. I got all these awesome courses that I normally only offer with my one-to-one coaching or group coaching, and they get access to all that. So that's a great opportunity. If any of those are like, oh, I got to do that, then definitely look at the coaching. But what I'm going to start doing is pairing one course, one solution with 4 weeks of office hours coaching where you can pop in and just get coached by me in a small group setting. Those are 8 people per office hours group. And you can start at any time. So there's no open cart, closed cart. There's no, the boot camp starts on this date, it ends on this date. You buy it when you're ready to buy it and you get started with that program. So what this is going to allow me to do, I'm doing these office hours segments in my calendar anyway. People that are in my coaching programs, my one-on-one, are already showing up for these. And I would just be inserting another group of people that all have access to me with something I'm already doing a few times a week, a few hours a week. So I like that, right? That eliminates we got to start on the 21st and end on the next month on the 15th. You can, as soon as you buy one of these Course Plus coaching offers, you'll be able to get started, get access to the course, get access and sign up for help and group coaching with me with the office hours, and we're off and running. Like I said, so far, so good. I like that. I like everything that I'd hoped with the testers is happening, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. So what I'm going to be doing, since these are sub $500 price point, I can do an episode. So let me give you a preview. Next week, I'm going to do an episode about my 2026 podcast growth strategy. Right, it's going to be a great episode. I'm going to teach you a ton. I'm really going to dive into, like, this week we're talking monetization. Next week we're talking about growth. My call to action next week will be my podcast growth bootcamp course plus coaching offer. All right. So if you're like, hey, this growth protocol sounds great, could use a little bit of help with it, could use a little bit more in-depth explanation, then the course is amazing. You pair that with my coaching, you can start at any time. There'll be a link in the show notes. Bam, we're off and running. All right. So I can sell that directly from a show because my rule is if it's below 500, we can do a CTA and sell something. Same thing with my newsletter. I can write a newsletter. If the topic, I tested this a couple of weeks ago where I talked about building my email list and how my newsletter is the key to that. And I sold my high value newsletter for podcasters course plus coaching program. And I had people buy that just from the newsletter. I didn't have to do a discovery call. That's the other thing that kind of eliminates that in between of discovery call. So I talked about selling or not selling something that's above $500 from my content. Part of that strategy is people are going to pay me over $500. That's definitely worth my time to do a discovery call. So we have to kind of watch gatekeep our schedule just a little bit. All right. So I don't want you selling something that's $29 from a discovery call. That can be sold from your show. That can be sold from a social media link. That can be sold from your email marketing, in my opinion, in my experience as a content entrepreneur. So these course plus coaching offers are kind of the new thing that I'm going to be testing. I'm already testing them. Like I said, I'm very happy with this. I can create one piece of content, sell a $297 entry level course. I think that these will feed into my, people will get great results because that's what I do. That's my goal. And then that will feed into, hey, let's do this month-to-month coaching. I like this. I like having office hours support. The idea of group coaching sounds cool, or add some one-on-one or whatever. So I think that will lead to higher level purchases from these same people. All right. Questions that you should be evaluating right now. As we wrap up 1 year and look ahead, I want to just put some questions in front of you that I think are really, really important. The first one, what is working? So in 2025, from a monetization standpoint, what is working? What is putting meaningful income in your pocket? For you, that may be sponsorship. That could be affiliate stuff. That could be your coaching offer. That could be a group coaching offer. That could be a course sale. Like, what has put meaningful income in your pocket? And if the answer is nothing, then that's okay too. But if there is something, if you're like, well, I got 22 people in this group coaching program and they're paying me $50 a month or $97 a month, I would say that's working. So we need to kind of put a pin on that and go, how do we make this work even better? How do we build on this momentum? That's the important secondary question to ask with what is working. The next question, what isn't working? What out there is just like, nobody's buying it. It's just, maybe you've kind of lost momentum. You had an idea. I've done this a lot in my past. I think we all do. We're like, oh, this is the thing that they need. And we create a thing and nobody buys it, or very few people buy it. And there's very little attention, and we're not making meaningful income. So what isn't working? A secondary question would be like, what do we need to hit the pause button on? What do we need to let go of? If you have this course and you've been promoting the hell out of it in your newsletters, in your podcast call to action, and you're really trying to sell it and just like nobody is buying it, let's just maybe change the strategy. Let's maybe look at tweaking it a little bit. I had this conversation with one of my group coaching clients where I was like, hey, a standalone course, I just feel like people aren't buying those right now, especially if you want to sell it like $1,000 plus. Let's give them some access to you, kind of like what I'm doing with my course plus coaching offers. I really don't see myself just selling a course unless it's really low dollar, like under $100. All right. I feel like with the age of AI and everything, the days of selling just a course for like $1,000, and feel free to prove me wrong, but in my experience, those days are dwindling. But our time, our expertise as somebody that, as a human being that can take them by the hand and help guide them through this information, that's a different deal. All right. So I was like, hey, let's pair this course plus coaching concept together. They liked that idea. And I was like, let's stop pitching the course directly because it's over $500 and let's talk discovery calls instead. So far, so good. We're starting to tweak things and make a sale. So what isn't working? Secondary question, is this a candidate for something to either put a pin in, pause, or reevaluate the strategy to figure out what could make it work? All right, next question. This is an important one that I know that has probably crossed your mind, maybe not in this form. Here it is. What feels like it should be working, but isn't for some reason? So this is different than the previous one. Like, what isn't working? Sometimes it's like I took a chance on something and it sucked. Nothing happened. This one is like, I did my market research. I asked my audience what they wanted. They gave me this idea. I created it for them. For whatever reason, it's just not selling. Maybe it's a group thing. Maybe it's a coaching offer, whatever. But like, you really had high hopes. Like, this really feels good from my standpoint as the content entrepreneur, but also from like that audience validation. Maybe you did a beta group and they really ate it up, but then it's just been crickets ever since then. I feel like we've all kind of had that type of an offer. And it's important to separate this question from what just isn't flat out working. All right. So if you did your research, you got some audience feedback and you felt like, for some reason, I really thought this would work. I felt good about it, but for some reason it's not. Let's evaluate that. And honestly, this is where a coach comes in. This is where you got to get out of your own head and get someone else's freaking eyeballs on this. This happens all the time. People pop in for office hours or my one-on-one clients or whatever. They're like, Adam, I really thought this was a home run. Why the hell is this not working? And I just look at it and it could be something simple like, oh, you're trying to sell this in July. This isn't going to sell in July because people are doing vacations. It's just, or you're trying to sell this during the holiday season. If it's especially like a time sensitive offer, people are trying to do these boot camps that are 21 days. They start on a specific day. Guess what? Most of those are not going to work during the holiday season because people have shit to do. And they're like, oh, not the ideal time. Not going to do it. And that's why I'm kind of quitting doing this. Although one of my clients is in the health space, I encourage them to do a time sensitive thing during the holiday season because that's a different deal. I'm like, this is an opportunity. I used to kill it in my health space, in the weight loss space, with a 4-week boot camp that ran between Thanksgiving and Christmas, because that's when people lose their mind and they need support. The opportunity was there. But that's kind of a unique circumstance. So this is a great opportunity if you are in a community, if you have a coach, put this one in front of them. Hey, I really thought this offer, or this monetization strategy was going to work. It has not worked. Let's evaluate this together. Let's get a different set of eyeballs to evaluate this. All right. Now, the last question I want you to evaluate and put in front of yourself today is, what new experiments / opportunities might be worth a try in 2026? Not saying that this is going to be your thing. Not saying this is going to be your immediate January call to action or anything like that, but it's just fun. And I want it to be fun and effective. Sometimes it's just fun, but it needs to be effective also. But like, what opportunities or experiments are worth a try? Maybe you've had a few different things that you're like, okay, maybe this group, I need to have a group coaching offer, or maybe Adam's course plus coaching thing. That sounds interesting. Let's learn how to do that. Maybe let's experiment with that a little bit. Or maybe a time-sensitive boot camp. Maybe that's the direction you want to go, or a course, or whatever. Maybe it's sponsors. Who knows? But I would have a list, and I would evaluate that and just kind of let it sit a little bit. Now, I've got a list that I call my idea bank that I keep in an Evernote file, and I review it every Thursday. It's pretty damn long. Like, I've got over 100 things on there, but I've been building this list since like 2018 with this brand. And I just give it a look. I put ideas in there from different podcasts I want to write, books I want to write, offers, different course ideas, content ideas, collaboration, monetization strategies. As I listen to a lot of content, I read a lot of content, and I just get an idea, I put it in there, and I review it every Thursday. That way I don't forget it. But look at some of those ideas and think like, okay, is 2026 potentially the right time? Is that fruit ripe to pick off the tree? And evaluate those ideas, right? So questions again, what is working? What 100% isn't working? What feels like it should be working but isn't for some reason? And what new experiments and opportunities might be worth a try in 2026? I think this will help you level up your podcast monetization strategy. Again, if you want a little bit of help with that monetization strategy, I'd love for you to hop on a discovery call. The link is in the show notes, and we can link up and talk about how I can help you out and accelerate the process a little bit. All right, Pod Pals, I appreciate you for tuning in for another year of Podcasting Business School. This is the final episode of 2025. Next week, I'll be back with my growth game plan and growth tips for 2026. Very excited for that. And Pod Pals, I'll send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. I will see you next week.